Okay, so here we are. Art die, hole one. This is par four. Um, Long. There's all this concrete stuff that you got to get through, which I threw right in the middle of. So then there's this hill you've got to throw way back into, which I had a weird angle, and then you got to throw over this hill, which I hooked mine way to the left. So saved a par. Moved on. Hole two is much better. Hole one, um, still 356, not bad, but you just have to get to the left of that tree and then over all that wreckage. I actually had a really good pull on this one, so the basket's up in those trees. You can't really see it, so I just threw through the trees to kind of skip up the hill. Gave me a really easy look at another par, which I managed to get in. Hole three is another one that I messed up. It's a par three as well. Um, you want to kind of get inside those trees, and I threw out like to the street, so then I had to come back in, which was fine because I just hyzer bombed it in there, landed right by the pin, saved another par, still sitting happily even. Um, Moving on, hole four is one that It's a really tight window. It's a hard par three because you got this really tight window to throw into. Then the basket's up on top of this hill, but it's guarded by all these trees. So my drive got me to a good place. Then I had to go to the outside, and then you still can't see the baskets up that hill. So I just laid up, but unfortunately I had to take a bogey here. Cool angle though, right? So sitting at +1 at this point. This is hole five, another par three. If ever, if you have a flick, this is the time to do it because you can't really get away with anything else. If you try to anhyzer it, you're going to get into those trees. So I got right outside where I wanted to be. Had a long look at a birdie, but didn't get it. So then had another easy par. Hole six is one of my favorites. It's a hard one, but you get to throw up, which is really fun. So you can't really see it because I couldn't get behind me. But you'll see it on the next shot. But you have to throw it way up. And I actually doinked off that wall, so then I took a run, hit the basket, but luckily bounced right there and another par. So was able to continually save pars. Hole seven is a difficult one, but I managed to pull it off pretty good. You want to be careful. You don't want to go too far right, too far left. So this kind of tests a straight shot, but a distant straight shot. And then it was just a layup to the basket. Pretty easy. Another par. Did okay today, I would say. This one is short, but it's really difficult because you want to throw like a slow kind of fade shot that's going to fade because that hill slopes down, but it's so hard to get it to do that. I actually didn't. So if you see where I'm going, because that hill is so high on the right side, it never had a chance to fade because it clipped that. So I basically went up there, kind of threw it down, and then it landed there, and I got another par. Hole 9 is a good distance shot. It's a little more open, so you just want to make sure you kind of stay to the right, but then let it finish left and get past those big trees, which I did. So then had another pretty easy, you can see I didn't throw it very hard there, so it was just another layup par that was super easy. So I was able to nail that, stick with my +1 for the day. Hole 10, pretty short, under 300, but again, you've got to get it through that window, which is what I did. But then I ended up in that gunk, so this was I thought about flicking there, and then I changed my mind at the last second and just kind of frisbee through it, basically. But it ended up landing me in a makeable par because it was, 6, 7 feet away. So pretty easy to take my par there. So I was hoping, you know, for a birdie, but haven't seen a ton of those. Hole 11 is really tough because you got to throw up over that hill, but then it's back down this kind of plateau thing. This might be one of the best throws I've ever had on this hole because the basket's just down, so you just have to kind of float it down into that, you know, into that area, and then there's the basket right there. So another easy drop-in par. I was getting lots of pars today, thankfully. This hole 12 lies. It says it's 312 feet. This is like 420 because, as you can see, you got to throw back across that whole thing, and then you've got to throw across all of this. So, you know, and the basket's still a ways out. And I should play this at a 4 because then I would be par. There's no way it's a 3. It's got to be over 400 feet. Hole 13 is another one I really like, and it's not either one of those because they moved it. It's to the right. It used to be like straight out there, and it was along like 400, but I went with my flick again. I've been working on my flick a lot, and it's kind of paid off a little bit because I've been getting better. So this gave me a better look here to float up, and then, you know, had another pretty easy, you know, one I could have choked on, but I didn't, thankfully. So I guess depending on where I play that last one, I could be +2 or +1 still. This one's fun. You throw and you just let it hyzer in, and it hits the basket, which is what I did. Get it over those trees, and then it kind of just drops in there. But then that low-hanging thing makes it harder to putt, so I decided I'd take my par, be happy, but I've birdied this hole several times, just not today, which is fine. Next hole up, hole 15, really short, but lots of trees. So I threw my buzz on this one actually, and I was very happy that I did. I think I threw with a fan grip even, just to. I've actually thrown way past this one a bunch, gotten just way out, and then it's hard to get back in because, as you can see, the basket's guarded by all of that. So it was easier to do that, and then I kind of just up and overed, which was pretty easy for another par. The next hole is my favorite. It's a par 4. And none of those distances are right at all. Oh wait, no, 16. 16's not the one. I was thinking of 17. 17's a par 3. It's a tough hole because there's a small window that's way out there, and then everything else is guarded trees, which I threw into the guarded trees, and it's hard. You can't really hyzer around it, so this is me going through the trees, which thankfully I made it and dropped myself in for another easy par. So then 17 is the one. Par 4. It's really long. It's a tight shot to get out, and then you get out into the open. So my goal with this is always just to be super aggressive and just rip the disc as hard as I can. This was probably my best throw because it really just stayed straight. Gave me this easy open look, but still had another 200 feet that I just floated my dynamic disc out there to. Landed right by the pin and put in a birdie. So that was nice. Hole 18, just throw straight and let it hyzer. That's my tracker. So kind of pulled it to the right a little bit, but then it hyzered back in and it lines you up pretty nice with an easy shot. So I threw my, my putter just to make sure I got there, and finished up with another easy par. So, and +1 at the end of the day, which isn't a bad place to be on this course. I've played it better maybe once, but usually I end up +2 or 3 or 4 even. So I was happy with my effort. And my final score, I'm going to say +1. That sounds good. Yeah, it wasn't unknown. At the time it was because I didn't tally it up, but now that I go back and watch it, I have everything cut up. So I was off because that other one's a par 4. I don't care what anybody says. Thanks.